Hi, in this video I will show you how to customize default user interface of your local server. User interface is written using React, so you need to have some basic understanding of React library before you start playing with your own customizations. Of course, you can always use controller library to write your own user interface from scratch if you don't like React for whatever reason. But it can take significant amount of time, so probably it will be much easier in most cases to just update existing version. Let me briefly explain how it works. Under your local server root directory, there is an out folder. Whatever sits inside will be served by local server on port 8080 of host device IP address. Out of the box, out folder contains default user interface files generated by Next.js framework using static export functionality. When the page is opened, it uses controller library to connect with local server via WebSocket, utilizing server IP address and connection port from browser address bar. In other words, to update your local server with your own version of user interface, you simply need to replace the content of out folder. So let's see how to create such content. As it is written in reference on project page, first we need to set up the project. Stargate is an open source system, so its code is published on GitHub under Stargate System Organization. Here is a link to Stargate.js mono repository, which is basically a monorepo with all components of Stargate system that was written in JavaScript or TypeScript language. If you're planning to stay with Stargate for longer, it's recommended that you create a fork of this repository so you can merge any further updates easily, but for the purpose of demonstration I'll just clone it on my disk. Next we need to install all the dependencies. And finally build the entire project. Done, we are all set. Let's have a quick look on what's inside the repository. Apps folder contains components meant to run as standalone applications. Inside you can find GitHub, local server and user interface, which effectively works as standalone application just in web browser environment. We also have libs folder containing libraries such as device or controller, and examples folder with some example implementations of libraries. In this video we'll play with user interface, so let's have a closer look on it. If you're not familiar with Next.js, you need to know that entry point for our application is in pages index.tsx file. As you can see, it's a simple file that displays system page wrapped in React GateView model component. The only purpose of this component is to get system model from local server and provide it in system model context so you can access system model from any child component. The actual component sits within components directory. Here we have mentioned components and a common folder for generic components used in multiple places of the app. Most of the code is under system page. Its file structure corresponds to display order of components on the page. For example, system page displays card display component, which displays cards, which can be either devices dashboard or pipes dashboard and so on. If some component code is split into subcomponents, they are located under components directory. Okay, we know more or less what's the idea. Let's make some simple modification to get started. Here I have smart home system from previous videos. Let's say I would like to change the color of this indicator lamp. First of all, we probably would like to have some preview on changes we do in real time. As you can see in address bar, we are on localhost 8080, means our app comes from local server, so it won't change unless we replace the content of out folder. Fortunately, the project we just set up contains development server, which we can use instead of what we currently have on local server. We just need our local server to run on the same physical machine as development server. So I open terminal under Stargate.js mono directory and type npm run dev. Development server started and is available on localhost 3000. Let's open it in browser. For now, both user interfaces looks identical, which is not surprising as we didn't made any changes yet. So let's find our lamp in the code. I hit F12 button to open developer's console in browser and inspect the component I'm interested in. It looks our lamp sits within device header component and have classes ActiveLamp and ActiveLampOn. Let's search for them in project files. There they are, in device header module CSS file. Okay, so we have found the classes which defines the look of our lamp. Let's try to change its color. I will pick something more blue. Save the changes. And after refreshing the page, my changes are instantly visible. Great. But our local server still contains the old version of user interface. Let's update it. I will stop development server as I'm done with code modifications for now, and create new version of user interface by launching npm run build :UI. It will create static export of current code in out folder. Now as Next.js finished its job, I copy out folder from user interface, browse to local server of my smart home, delete previous version of user interface, and paste new one. Done. Now when I refresh the page, I can see my custom version of user interface instead of default one. That was just introductory example to show you how it all works. I guess that's enough for one video, but still there are some tricks which I haven't presented yet, but can be pretty useful while implementing real-life scenarios. That's the subject for next video, so check it out if you're interested. Don't forget to leave a thumb up if you like this video or a comment if you want to share any thoughts. Thanks for watching and see you on other videos.